Hello, my name is Steve Bowler, and welcome to the introduction to Juniper Lab number 4. In this lab, we're going to take a look at commonly used show commands. Specifically, what we're going to do in this lab is we are going to compare commonly used Cisco show commands to and show you the Juniper equivalent. So if you're new to Juniper, you probably went through the same thing that I did when I was new to Juniper. I knew how to do a lot of the commands on the Cisco devices, but I wasn't sure of how to do those same commands on the Juniper devices. So what I've done is I've compiled a list of commands that we're going to run through and show you on the Cisco device, and then we're going to show you the similar way to get the output on our Juniper router. So I know there's a lot of articles on how to do this on the internet, but as of right now there's no other vendor or no other company that are for this case. I don't even think there's any other videos out there that actually show you how to do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a bunch of commands and run through them, both how to do them on Cisco devices and on Juniper devices. In this lab, if this looks familiar, that's because this is the same topology we used for the introduction to Juniper, the other introduction labs. I'm connected right now to my SRX 210 Juniper device in my home lab via my Ethernet connection on my laptop, and I'm connected to the SRX also. The SRX is connected into my laptop to a Cisco virtual router within GNS3. So one of the first commands and most common on a Cisco device, if you want to see the configuration, we just do show running config, and this is going to output the running configuration of the device. It's going to give us all of our interface configuration, pretty much everything that is currently on the device. The way we're going to do this command on the Juniper router is we're going to do show configuration. So this is going to, we can see our version number. Just like on the Cisco device, we can see we're running version 12.4. On the Juniper, we're running a little older version right now. I didn't upgrade it yet. We're running code 9.6. We can see that we have our output as far as our host name, our syslog, our services, our interfaces that are configured, routing options, our protocols. So obviously this is everything that's on the router. So on a Cisco, it's show running config. On the Juniper, it's show configuration. Another good command to show you on the Cisco device, say we want to take a look at, a lot of times when we're troubleshooting things, we do the command show interfaces, we do the command show IP interfaces brief, and it gives us a brief summary of the interfaces, their IP addresses, and their administrative status. If they're up, layer 1 is up, layer 2. The way we're going to do this on the Juniper device is with the command show interfaces terse. So once I put that in, as we can see, it looks very similar to our Cisco output. We can see the interfaces to the left, we see the administrative state. So obviously these interfaces are admined up and the link is up. Obviously GIGI000 is the connection to that we have into our laptop. So that's up. The local IP address gives us so on the Cisco device, that command was show IP interface brief. On the Juniper device, it was show interface terse. Say we want to look at the routing table. The way we're going to do this on a Cisco device, we do the command show IP route, and it's going to give us our current routing table. As we can see on the Cisco device, not much going on right now, just a bunch of directly connected devices, directly connected routes. And to look at the routing table on the Juniper device, the command that's going to allow us to do this is, instead of show IP route, we're just going to put in show route. We can see that we have multiple routes in the routing table on the Juniper side. Real quick, I just want to run through this. It looks like we are learning via BGP, the 2 network, 2.2.2.24, and it gives us our next hop, which is 192.168.1.2. In this case, that is the Cisco router. So we're learning via BGP from the Cisco router, the 2 network. And also, we can see, if you've never seen this before, and this is your introduction into seeing the routing table on the Juniper side, it gives us our protocol in which we've learned the route, in this case BGP, and it gives us what is known as the route preference. On the Cisco device, if we were learning a route from a routing protocol, that would be called, let me just do that for you real fast, show you. If I just do IP route, let's just do this, 10.10.10.10, 255, we'll just do a /24. We'll just do null 0. Or we'll do, whoops, inconsistent. Let's do this IP route 192.168 10.10. Oops. Let's see what we're doing wrong. Let's just do this. We'll send this to our loopback 0. Oh, you know what I was doing? Sorry, it's been so long since I put a static route in a Cisco router. There we go. And now I can null 0 that. You guys are probably like, what is he doing? Sorry about that. Wanted to show you the whole point of doing that. Now, if I do a show IP route on the Cisco side, we can see the static route is shown with an S next to it, whereas the directly connected have a C. So if you've never seen that on a Cisco router, that's one of the items when you do a show IP route that could come up, just to be aware of that. And let me show you something real quick on the Juniper side. Let's go under Edit Interfaces, Loopback 0, 0. We'll just put in, we'll do set family inet address 11.11.11.11/24. And then what we're going to do is go to Edit Protocols OSPF. We'll do Set Area 0, Interface Loopback 0.0. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to advertise the Loopback 0 that I just created on the Juniper router. I'm going to advertise that into OSPF, send that over to our Cisco device. So I want to show you what this is going to look like on the Cisco side. So now if I do a show IP route, now we are seeing the OSPF learned route. And the whole purpose of doing this again was, if I do a show route on the Juniper side, we have the routing protocol that the route is learned. In this case, the 2 network we're learning from the Cisco side via BGP. The route preference is 170. And what I wanted to show you on the Cisco device if I learn a route, in this case I'm learning the 11 network from the Juniper router, it's coming in with the administrative distance in this case the administrative distance is the administrative distance is 110, so this is telling me in Cisco terms that this route is learned via OSPF, and after the /, this is the metric that is given to the route, in this case is 10. So we're learning on the Juniper router, we're learning the 22 network via OSPF from the Cisco router. The OSPF route has a route preference of 10 and it has a metric of 2. So I just wanted to show you very quickly a rundown of the show IP route and the show route statements. The show IP route is how we look at the routing table on the Cisco side. The show route is how we look at it on the routing table on the Juniper side. The next command we want to run through, well-known command, is show log. On the Cisco side, we have right now, we can see that we are not logging any messages. The way we change this on the Cisco side is, just to show you how we do that, we just do the logging buffered, so that we are now going to send log messages. Now if I just go into global configuration, exit, now if I do a show log, we can see that we are receiving messages into the log. On the Juniper side, the way we look at the log is with the command show log messages. And this is going to this is going to give us all the messages that are sent to the log. Now on both devices you can tailor the log output and log to whatever level you want, from critical alarms to not critical alarms, warnings, and other information. On the Cisco side it was show log. On the Juniper side is show log messages. To look at the version and to get some very basic good information, on a Cisco device we use the command show version. It gives us the version of iOS code that we're running. Also it gives us information about memory. On the Juniper device we're going to use the exact same command. We're just going to do show version, and it gives us our host name, the model, and the Junos software configuration as well. There's another command we can do on the Juniper device, show system software, which gives us some more information. Now when we are looking at routing protocols, we have between the two routers, we have, if you haven't already figured it out, we have OSPF and BGP running, and we're neighboring on both devices, or peering to each other on both devices. So on the Cisco router, to look at the OSPF neighbors, I just do show IP OSPF neighbor. We can see that we are a neighbor with the Juniper device, which is the address 192.168.1.1. On the Juniper device, we do the command show OSPF neighbor, and we can see that we are peering with the Cisco router, which is the .2, the interface it gives us, the state, the router ID for the Cisco router, the priority, and the dead time. So show IP OSPF neighbor on the Cisco side and show OSPF neighbor on the Juniper side. To look at the BGP neighbor relationship information, on the Cisco side we do a show IP BGP summary. This gives us our neighbor information along with a lot more information as well. It gives us the version of BGP, the autonomous system of our neighbor, which is 100, the table version, the time that it's been up, and the prefixes that we're receiving from the Juniper router. On the Juniper side, we do the command, the equivalent command is show BGP summary. With this command, you can see that we have one peer. Let's see if I can stretch this screen out for us so that we can see the full output. Show BGP summary on the Juniper side gives us our peer, which is the Cisco router, the autonomous system that we are peering to. In this case, we are doing an external BGP because the Cisco side sees the Juniper side as an autonomous system 100, and the Juniper side sees the Cisco side as being an autonomous system 200. So different autonomous systems. This tips us off that we have an external BGP connection. We're seeing packets in and out via BGP, we're seeing the uptime, and we're seeing information such as the active, received, accepted, and damped routes. Show IP BGP summary, that was the command on the Cisco side, and on the Juniper side we looked at the BGP neighbor relationship information by doing the show BGP summary command. On our Cisco router, if we do the command show environment all, this gives us information about our power supply, the board temperature, the fan status. So it's a good troubleshooting command if you are trying to troubleshoot power issues, possible HVAC issues, heating problems, cooling issues. On the Juniper side, this same command or the same output we're going to receive by doing the show chassis environment command. So the show chassis environment command on the Juniper side gives us the temperature, the routing engine status. It gives us the temperature in Celsius and Fahrenheit, and also gives us the status of our power supplies, our fans, temperature. So right now we can see that the fans on the our SRX 210 are spinning at high speed. However, the status is okay. So it's a very good command. On the Juniper side, we can also take a look at present alarms on a device by doing the command show chassis alarms. So if there's any alarms active on the device, we will be able to see this just by doing the command show chassis alarms. Very good in troubleshooting a lot of issues. Another really good show command on when you're troubleshooting issues on the Juniper router is the command show chassis followed by hardware. So what this is going to do is this is going to give you the hardware inventory, which gives you the item, and then it'll also give you the cards that are on your device, also your power supplies. It'll give you their part numbers, the version of those devices along with their serial numbers, and it gives a brief description of what it is. So for instance, we have the routing engine, gives us our part number, our serial number, and a brief description of what it is. This can be very good information if we have to RMA a part and we are looking for the part number or serial number to give to Juniper or to give to a Juniper partner or just to our management to let them know. That command again was show chassis hardware. Very good command to use. And we've all probably seen this command on a Cisco device. It's the show tech support. If I go ahead and do show tech support and hit enter, we can see that obviously this is going to scroll for quite a bit. The show tech support will pretty much give us a lot. What that command does is it's kind of like a script, and it runs a whole bunch of show commands on our device. A lot of times we'll do this and then we'll take this output, we'll put it into a document or a file and send it away to Cisco to take a look at to see what the problem is with our device. So as we can see, we have some commands. A lot of the ones that they're going to do are show. It's going to look at all the interfaces, it's going to look at the running configuration, and a lot of other commands all in one. So show tech support is how to do that on the Cisco device. On the Juniper device, the command to do this is request support information. If I hit enter, you can see that this is going to do the command show version, which gives us a lot of information about the version of Junos that we're running and kernel information. We also see that it gives us show chassis alarms, show system processes. We'll go over that one in a second. A lot of show chassis commands. Just going to try to scroll through this real fast. It's going to look at the system queues. It's going to look at the statistics of the system. Also, up here you can see this looks familiar. This is the show. This is the output of a show configuration. And then last, I think, is the show interfaces. And as we can see, we're seeing all the interface detail information. This command is very good. Also, it actually outputs the routing table as well. So this command is very good when you're trying to get technical support from either Cisco or Juniper. On the Cisco side, that command was show tech support. On the Juniper side, it was request support information. Another well-known command on the Cisco side that we use is the command terminal monitor. I'm sorry. I'm in through the console, obviously, so this is just telling me the console already monitors. So if I do config T, what I want to show you, let's go ahead and do this. We can see that we're seeing real-time events happen on the Cisco side. If I do a show interface description, let's go ahead. We'll go and admin up interface FA00. We'll do no shut. What we're going to see in real time now, because we're in through the console, we're seeing events in real time happening. The way we can do this on the Juniper side, terminal monitor, to see real-time events occur is with the command monitor start messages. And now if I go under edit mode, actually let's see if we can make an alarm pop up. Let's do this. Let's go back into edit mode. We'll do the command set system host name. Let's change it to Juniper. And then we'll go ahead and quit. Actually, it looks like we are monitoring, looks like our log file, we're monitoring SSH activity. So let's go ahead and try to do this. From the Cisco side, we'll SSH into 192.168.1.1. Let's do this. SSH L login name root 192.168.1.1. Then we'll put in, and there we go. Now it just took a second. So this is what I wanted to show you. When we do monitor start messages, what we're going to see is real-time messages that are being logged show up in real time on the command line interface. As we can see, we just logged in to the Juniper device from the Cisco router. So when we SSH into the Juniper device, we're getting the messages. We're seeing accept the password for root from 192.168.1.2. That's the session that I just started on the Cisco router. And the way we're going to stop this is we just do monitor stop messages. So if I do a show log, and if you're wondering what this is, if I do a show log pipe last 10, this is going to show me the last 10 messages in the log. I'm sorry, show log messages pipe last 10. You can see that our last message that we received is the SSH when we SSH from our Cisco router to the Juniper router. So just wanted to show you that, how that happens. Another well-known command on the Cisco device is the show processes CPU. This gives us our process ID, also gives us the runtime, and it gives us a lot of good information such as the CPU utilization, how much of the CPU each of these processes is taking up. It's very good in troubleshooting if we're having issues with our CPU utilization. On the Juniper router, the equivalent command is going to be show system processes. It gives us our process ID. Actually, we want to do the show system processes extensive. This gives us the process ID, the size, how long the process has been running, along with the CPU information. Gives us our averages. It's a very good command to know. To look at the time of the router, on the Cisco device, we do this by doing the command show clock. This gives us our current time on the router. The way we do this on the Juniper side is we just do the command show system uptime. And this gives us a lot of good good output. Gives us the current time when the system was booted. when the protocols were started. On the Cisco side, we looked at this information with the show clock. On the Juniper side, we did this with the show system uptime command. And I also want to show you a couple of commands. In addition, actually I just want to show you on the Cisco side, we can ping by using the command ping 192.168. If we try to ping the Juniper side, we just do ping 192.168 1.1, and you can see the output is returned as follows. If we were to do the same command, just do a ping 192.168 1.2, this is the Cisco side from the Juniper router, we can see that the ping looks a little different. And I went over this in the previous introduction videos, or I can't remember, I think it was Juniper Introduction Lab number 3, when we did the point-to-point link. Let me go ahead and stop this. But as we can see, this ping would go on pretty much forever. So to make this ping look more like a Cisco output ping, we're going to do the command, we're just going to add onto this rapid. We can see that looks exactly like a Cisco ping now. To do a ping on a Cisco device, so we want to ping the Juniper side 100 times, we just do ping followed by the IP address followed by repeat and the amount of times. On the Juniper side, we do a ping 192.168 1.2 rapid. Instead of repeat, we're going to use the count option. So I just wanted to show you that real fast. I know that's not a show command, but that's a very well-known command that we need to know how to do. So what we've done in this lab is we looked at a lot of the commonly used show commands on the Cisco side, and if you're coming from the Cisco world into Juniper, what we did was we showed you the commonly used show commands on Cisco devices and then their equivalent command on the Juniper device within Junos. What I want to show you now is a couple of other cool show commands on the Juniper side. So from configuration mode on the Juniper router, this command is going to be very useful. If we just do a show, we can look at the running configuration and see a lot of the configuration that has been added onto the device. To make sense of this and see exactly how all of these options and how this configuration was added on the router, the way we do this is with the command show space pipe space display space set. And what this is going to do is this is going to give us exactly all the commands that it took to get the above information from the show, from performing the show command under configuration mode. So we can see, for instance, to set up the routing option to give the router ID of 111.111.111.111, the command to do this is set routing options router ID and then followed by the IP address. So a very cool command to show you exactly, okay, well, this is what it looks like just doing the show, or even from operational mode. If you do show configuration, you see, oh, okay, well, this is the output. Well, how did they get this? If you go under configuration mode and do show space pipe space display space set, you can see exactly all the commands that were entered to get that output. Also, another good command to know within Junos is the command show CLI history. What this is going to do is going to give you a history of all the commands that were entered under the command line. So we can see that I went under edit mode, I did a ping to router 2, I did show system processes. The way we do that again is show command line history, or show CLI history, I'm sorry. And this gives us a number of commands that were last entered into the command line. So this is Introduction to Juniper Lab number 4. Just to summarize what we went through, we looked at a lot of commonly used show commands. We looked at how to compare these commands from a Cisco device to the Juniper device, how these commands would look. We went over looking at interfaces, looking at routing protocols, looking at hardware. We pretty much looked at a lot of the most common Cisco commands that you would use when troubleshooting and converted them over to their Juniper equivalent commands. Then I finished the lab showing you a couple of other good Juniper commands that you can use to get some good information. So thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.